We've got a great program today with both virtual and in-person participation. And well, I look forward to all of the great discussion of physics. I just want to say a couple of things very quickly before handing it over to the KITP director, Lars Bildsten. So the goal of the theory frontier, of course, is to articulate the vibrancy of high energy theory in the context of the Snowmass process. And so I would encourage everyone at the conference, of course, to support the physics that you're excited in and articulate it, but also to engage with other physics that's happening in other parts of high energy physics, because this is really our chance to build connections among the broader field. Okay. The only other thing I want to say, of course, thanks again to all of the speakers for coming and for articulating the physics. But I also just wanted to thank all of the staff of the KITP. This has been an enormous effort to bring this together, especially under COVID circumstances. And we're going to thank the staff formally on Friday. But in the meantime, whenever you have interactions with KITP staff, make sure that you let them know your appreciation for everything that they're doing, because they're doing an amazing job. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the KITP director, Lars.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Well, welcome everyone. We've been running since July, and we've been managing through all of these. So I appreciate everyone's patience with our ever-evolving protocols. But this too, we hope, will evolve. The hybrid format, we've been running this way since July, so we do have a fair amount of experience, so hopefully it should go smoothly. But I first like to start really quickly with just a few overview things comments I like to make. So first off, for this crowd, I'm really interested in the answer to the following question. For how many of you is today your first day at the KITP? Raise your hand high. Ever at the KITP? Yes. First day ever at the KITP. Okay, so it looks about 1/4, which it's usually about 1/2. I was expecting it to be a little bit lower for this crowd, but so let me tell you briefly how we do programs. Of course, this is sort of an out of cycle event for us, but we really feel strongly about ensuring that your community in particular is engaged here. And I can tell you one big challenge we have with your community is a lack of pre-proposals and full proposals to the Institute. So I really want to encourage you, especially as you go through this process, think about what would be an excellent program at the KITP. We do get proposals, but we don't get enough from you. So I really want to emphasize that. If you have any questions about that process, I want everybody to raise their hand if they're a current or former member of the KITP Advisory Board. Okay, so we've got Eva, David, yeah, from long ago. The masks, I hate the masks. Oh, it's Michael Peskin, good, okay. Lance, Tim Tate, myself, Mark Bowick, who's the deputy director. So please talk to us if you have any questions about the process. We'll be doing, we just finished 23-24 planning, so we'll be planning for the subsequent year. Pre-proposals are due sort of circa November, so it should give you plenty of time. But I really do urge you to think about what would be a great program here at the Institute, because we need those programs to be able to develop the field. The time for discussions here is very important. So we will have, as you'll see in the talks, we always say roughly half the time of the talk time should be for discussion. And Aida will be our first enforcer. So please respect her desire and need to be certain there's time for discussion. That's a really important part of how we feel we should be running things here at the Institute. Otherwise, I'm going to sort of bypass logistical things, but just for those of you, the typical thing is the courtyard is where all the breaks are, where the lunches are, where the dinners are. And so, of course, thankfully that courtyard is outside, so it's a much more comfortable setting than in here. And otherwise, I think I really want to hand this over to Talhan, because I know he has to make some comments before we get started. So thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for your continued patience, and really great to see such a full crowd.
Thank you. I think it's on. Thank you very much, Lars, and for the KITP staff members to host this wonderful meeting. So, and we are really appreciate that. So, on behalf of the Snowmass student group, I would like to welcome you all to this Snowmass Theory Frontier Conference. In particular, those who came all the way to join this meeting in person, sitting in the audience, and also those connected remotely. So this is a really great meeting and come together to discuss our physics and our endeavor next. So Snowmass is a beautiful resort village in Colorado. In 1982, APS-DPF organized the first community activity. So that's what the Snowmass name came from, to assess the future of elementary particle physics, to explore limits of our technological capabilities, and to consider the nature of a future major facilities for particle physics. This tradition continued. This tradition continued, in particular, spearheaded the major effort about the superconducting supercollider studies, the so-called SSC, and much beyond, including LSC and the Bildsten collider, and so on and so forth. The activities have been broadened significantly. So our APS, DPF community organized ourselves pretty much every 7 to 10 years, almost like a decadal study, to assess our field and to see what is the next stage we want to do. So Snowmass 2021, once again, was led by DPF, and this is a scientific study. It knocked off about 2 years ago in the APS April meeting. That was the first one, but unfortunately it was virtual already. That was the first one of the first major virtual meetings. March meeting was supposed to be in person. Many people came to Denver already, but they left. It was the first one to cancel the in-person meeting, and at the very last minute, and we decided to do this April meeting with virtual. And at that time, and DPF, actually, I was the chair for this conference. It was very painful to see that, but now we finally come back to have this in-person meeting. It's almost exactly 2 years. Okay, so the goals for the Snowmass is to define the most important scientific questions in our field. Okay, to identify promising opportunities to address them for decades to come. Okay, specifically, we want to consider the broader and deeper understanding of our science. The science is the driving reason for our pursuit, and to engage junior scientists and foster our community development, and hopefully to reach a compelling vision for our field and how we should move forward in the decades to come. Okay. More importantly, we probably want to communicate our findings to the community. So this is a sub-panel, very important, influential sub-panel under HPAT. This is the Particle Physics Project Prioritization Panel, P5 process. Hopefully, our study will come into this P5 process as a major input. Okay. Now, we are here for this Snowmass theory frontier, and the theory frontier is led by these three colleagues, Nathaniel and Csaba, Aida, and I want to take the opportunity to thank them for the leadership, and in particular for this tremendous effort to put this program and a conference together at these difficult times. So the theory frontier covers all the way from string theory, quantum gravity, effective field theory, conformal field theory, scattering amplitude, lattice gate theory, theory techniques for precision physics, collider phenomenology, beyond set model building, astro, cosmo, and quantum information science, as well as the neutrino theory. So you can see the theory frontier has this breadth and depth. No question about that. Yeah. So we're very excited about this. Put this into global context. If we look at the Snowmass coverage, the Snowmass has 10 scientific frontiers, and the energy frontier, neutrino frontier, rare process, precision measurement, cosmic, accelerator, and instrumentation, computational, underground facilities, and community engagement, as well as the Snowmass early career. And the theory frontier is not only unique, but far-reaching. It covers everything. Everywhere theory frontier is involved. So that's why we are very excited about the participation, our community, and our society here. So now let's get back to work. Get back to work to make your work known, make your voice heard. We want to actively engage the dynamic theory frontier activities. And nowadays, we only have a few weeks to prepare our findings. We have been doing this for the past year or two. We want to prepare our submission to the white paper or contributed papers. Okay. So that papers will form the base to construct the topical group reports, and then to the frontier reports, and finally the Snowmass book. The Snowmass book is only a massive document, 1,000 pages. That is the base for us to address our results, and also the important aspect is what do we want to put in. This is a critical time. We have done so much. This is time to convert our data into the results and the analysis and make this make our publications. So what we want to do is the first thing is that you want to show the excitement of a field. You want to show the importance of the science. That's the first thing we have to come up. We must have a strong case for that. And secondly, you want to show people that the importance of your work or our work. We have a tremendous impact in all the other frontiers, as I mentioned to you. And this impact directly impactful to our experimental projects. Okay? But even beyond projects, with the theory frontier, it's unique to explore the fundamental nature of physics and have the fundamental insights for nature, and also even just the intellectual pursuits. So we have a very unique aspect to address. We want to convey this method reflect this, the results into our writing to the communities in broad sense, to the community in broad sense, and even including possible our government and maybe funding agencies. Okay, please mark your calendar to join our last meeting, the last in-person meeting so far planned for this called the so-called Snowmass meeting. This is the community summer study to be held in University of Washington, Seattle in later part of July. So mark the calendar. This is the last meeting we did together to prepare our final write-up. Okay, so I want to conclude with this Snowmass timeline. We are here. We only have a few weeks to consolidate our results and put it into our white paper. And the white paper will be digested by our topical group leaders to construct the topical group reports. And finally, as input to the frontier report. And then we come together to discuss all these preliminary reports at this CSS meeting. And then we finalize this, and the executive committee will write up these executive summaries. And finally, we have these frontier reports ready, and this concludes the Snowmass process, roughly about at the end of October 2022 this year. So looking forward to have the best Snowmass outcome from your hard work. Okay. Then hopefully we will make the impact, make our case to the communities, to the government, and to have a next successful P5 exercise. So please enjoy the Theory Frontier Conference. Enjoy the in-person environment. Enjoy Santa Barbara. Thank you very much.